Chantilly Castle. And this is the castle, which faced three major tragedies.
This chateau now belongs to an organization. Organization has no heirs by blood. And this is the first owner of Chantilly in 400 years who has nothing to lose. All the previous ones could, and they did. A cook who took his own life over a fish.
Capitainerie.
A prince who believed he'd reincarnate as a horse. A grieving duke, super famous place, who collected the most valuable library in the world and left behind an extremely strange will. But it all started at the moment a 23-year-old woman was found dead. Her neck was like twisted, and the smell of sulfur hanging in the air. But let's take it from the beginning. This chateau was built in 1528 by Constable Anne de Montmorency.
Le Connétable Anne de Montmorency.
And he couldn't have imagined the passions that would unfold here. The story number 1, the Duke, Louisa, and the witch ring.
Louise de Budos, or Budos. I will put later the label. So, the lady was walking in the garden. She was basically not someone from the elites or like not noble one. She was walking in the garden and then she met the old lady who was asking for money. So she gave money to that old lady, and that old lady turned out to be a witch. And she gave to Louisa the magic ring. Well, not maybe like this, I don't know. So, and she said, if you will manage to wear that ring on the finger of the Duke Montmorency, then he will fall in love with you. And so Louisa managed to do it.
He was 57 and she was just 18. Can you imagine the difference? The Duke fell in love with that girl, and they got married, they had kids and everything. And things supposed to be good, but no. Louisa was seen in the garden speaking to some stranger. And after, they went into the armor room. And then later in that room, Louisa was found dead. Her neck was like twisted. And in the air, there was the smell of the sulfur. Since that, she started to appear as a ghost of this castle, as a lady in white. And they say that it's not really a good sign if you see that lady.
This is the place where king and the owners of this castle used to die. And the chief cook that was working here was very famous. I'm with the mic, so I'll go further, okay? And the guy was like innovator among the cooks.
Story number 2, Vatel and the fish.
His name was François Vatel, and once he was requested to prepare the dinner for the king. He ordered food from different suppliers to make sure that everything will be top, because the guy was a perfectionist. He was organizing everything, even the fireworks, everything. And then, during the first day of the king's visit, there was some little drama starting to happen. The shrimps were a bit late, and he couldn't cook his famous sauce, like shrimp something. I will give the name in the title. And then that was the first drama. And so the guy started to get really nervous, because can you imagine what pressure it is to serve the king, right? And then on the next day, when he wanted to serve fish, and the fish was late. And so the guy was under such a pressure, he was so nervous that he went to his room and he threw himself onto the sword. And few moments after, maybe 30 minutes after, the fish was served. It was brought from another port because he made the orders from multiple ports. And the dinner continued as usual because of the Monsieur Conti, that was the owner of the house, he decided not to tell anyone that they found the dead body of Vatel, of François, and he asked his servants secretly to take his body outside of the castle so that the king would not know about this tragedy. Can you imagine what problems can cause perfectionism? So guys, don't be a perfectionist. Do you see the fish there?
Rouget, maître d'hôtel, noisette de mouton, soubise. So I got very disappointed, guys, by the menu. It's like you have perdreau rôti, you have like so many tasty dishes, I have to admit, but they are all salty. And there is just one tiny dessert, religieuse au café. Definitely not a time for me to be alive.
What are you trying to do?
Seems that you can see the banquet in augmented reality.
Ah.
They have Rouget à la Russe also.
Nowadays, owners really try to make it as interactive as possible to make you feel the atmosphere of that time.
We're moving to third tragic story about the Duke Aumale. For that, we need to go to the library. Let's go. This is super famous place. It's been a Duke, Aumale. Oh, hold on, what's his name? Aumale, something like this. Huh? Aumale. Henry Orléans, Duke de Aumale. He got this castle at 8 years. And then, in 1848, he had to run from the country because there was a revolution, and he went to England. And so he spent significant time of his life in England. But all this time he was collecting books, rare books from all over the world. The guy had 8 kids, and all of them died due to different reasons. When the Duke finally could return to France, to this castle, he was alone. That was his personal tragedy. He brought all the books that he was collecting, and what he said, that none of the books can be taken out from this library.
The most famous book in the world, the Très riche heirs du Duc de Berry. It took 70 years to make it in the 15th century. And in 1856, Aumale fought for it at auction against the Rothschilds. He won, and he gave 18,000 gold francs for this book. Today it is priceless, and they call it the Mona Lisa of books.
And therefore, he was giving this castle to the museum, or to where? Hold on. He gave it to some institution. Yeah, to the Institut of France in 1886. And one of the conditions was that no one touches this library. It's 11,000 of rare books.
Now let's move to fourth story, the Duke that wanted to be a horse.
The big one is suffering because we're supposed to go to famous Capitanerie.
Get some sweets, but
Yeah.
is it something else?
Louis-Henri de Bourbon-Condé, 7th Prince of Condé, Prime Minister of Louis XV. When he wasn't running France, he was busy with one thought: what's waiting for him after death? And by the look of it, he had plenty of free time on his hands. So basically the guy came to the conclusion that he was going to be reborn as a horse. Yep, as a horse. And so, in 1719, when every ruler, following trends, was building some kind of awesome palace, our guy decided to build himself a stable. I mean, it makes sense. If you're planning to be reborn as a horse, then moving from a palace to a stable is kind of a so-so perspective. So he decided to go all in and build the most epic stable ever. Hired an expensive architect, Jean Aubert, and built a stable 186 meters long for 240 horses. I guess for a company. The cost ran over the budget of some actual royal projects of that era. The architecture was on such a level that later King Louis XV would come to Chantilly to have a dinner in the dome of a stable. And today, throwing a banquet there will run you 8,500 an hour, tax not included.
And you pull it like this, voila, and then you're in.
And then the horse running or doing something in row.
And after all the adventures in the castle, finally, Big Man got what he deserved. A dessert in the famous Capitanerie. This is the place that was run by Vatel, and we tried his famous Chantilly cream, made by Vatel's recipe. And I highly recommend you to visit that place and try it yourself, because of it's something that really worth it. If you stay till the end, we're already friends. Hit subscribe so I know to keep making those videos. Comments are open and I read all of them, especially ones where you tell me I got something wrong.